Hello, so I mean I haven't made a video in a while because I didn't have anything to say. I mean you're listening to what I'm talking about, but I'm not really saying anything. It doesn't come from the heart. It comes from elsewhere. Recently I was at a funeral for a fish, and it's always sad when you lose a young life, particularly one that you weren't really sure whether it was sentient or not. It made me think about how goldfish do this. And I think it's because they have a lot to say. When you look into a goldfish's eyes, it's frightening because there's an intelligence there. Perhaps a divine truth that only the most self-aware fish are aware of. There's this societal expectation that fish have to be behind glass and in water for their own safety, and underneath literal glass ceilings, which no one's thought to break through. And I don't know what they're saying. No one knows what they're saying because no one's ever asked. I think that if the fish had a voice and could speak, it would speak truth that isn't yet apparent to us. And perhaps there is some scaly or non-scaly overlord that is trying to keep us from ever becoming aware of that. But I don't really know. Why don't you comment down below, what do you think? I don't even know where goldfish come from. Does the domesticated or even wild goldfish have aspirations? I've never seen a feral goldfish or one in the wild. None that swim amongst the weeds and the sponges. It's a sponge. Hey, it's been really hard to communicate with you recently. You're so self-absorbed. Do fish hold conversations with sponges? There is probably some emotional blocking going on in the mind of a sponge. If sponges had minds, which I don't think they do. I have this recurring fantasy about the rapper Pitbull, which isn't as interesting as it sounds. It doesn't really have a beginning, middle and an end, but the fantasy does have a very hopeful message. It's one that tells us that anyone can change. It begins like this. Pitbull, perhaps he's writing a few verses or polishing his head with a stone, and he thinks back to his life, just, you know, he looks back on it. He thinks from his days as a small-time Miami lad to the Mr. Worldwide that he is today. Perhaps he thinks, what has my life really amounted to? What have I gained? Was it all worth something? And so he abandons the strippers and checking in for remixes for a life of humanitarian and charity work. He's appointed to become an ambassador for UNICEF, just like Audrey Hepburn, who in this fantasy is Pitbull's kind of role model. That's my Pitbull, the Pitbull that I know and love. Because within every Pitbull song I hear the sincerity and the willingness to change the world and become part of, you know, a bigger community. It's not always apparent in the lyrics or the music, but perhaps just in the tone of his voice.